Africa conference tackled the theme, the internet and the media this year. Media practitioners, scholars, journalists and academics from across the continent came together in Grahamstown discussing this issue and the internet as a communication tool. Let's cross over to Iviwe Poti. She's our reporter who's going to be covering it for us. Iviwe, good morning to you. Tell us a little bit about this Highway Africa's focus on the internet and media this year.
Very good morning, Leanne, and definitely welcome to Grahamstown. Well, this year, Highway Africa is definitely tackling, well, they have tackled the internet and the media, and thereof, how the internet is forcing, development, not only in the media industry, but as well as newsrooms, any media-related company, any company actually, because, to keep up with the times and keep up with different countries, we have to evolve with the internet and we have to evolve with social media. So, specifically here, they speak to journalists and those that are involved in media industry. So, it's about educating journalists further, as well as, your editors and any news leaders or newsrooms that want to keep up with the times, about going online, being digital, the responsibility thereof. As you will remember, on social media, it's a new platform where people actually, come together and have a discussion or are, sticking behind one movement together. But thereof, we need to be responsible in terms of, not violating other people's rights, as well as, keeping editorial decisions and sticking to the editorial combat of whatever news company you come from. But media companies as a whole, how do they then, service your individual at home and service us as newsrooms as well? So it's like a new platform, a new era that we're walking into, Leanne, but very importantly that we have to discuss and make sure that we're ready for.
Yes, I can imagine that there's a lot to be discussed. I mean, when we talk about the internet and the media, it's almost taking over. Is this a topic of discussion as well? I mean, it's always the future of newspapers that are under the spotlight, the future of magazines. When you've got the internet and you've got social media that breaks news as and when it happens, and you've got to wait, I suppose, the next day to print your newspaper, it's always under discussion. Has that come up?
Definitely, and it has come up. I think if I can, put it in context, the importance of the hashtag. We've seen how the hashtag has brought so many people together from different countries, different walks of life. But, you can basically trend under a hashtag in any country, and people can, have their opinion also put forward. But as a journalist, when you're out in the field, how you break the story on social media, being responsible as well. I mean, there's no time to double check things. So you kind of have to be educated throughout. But when you break something on the hashtag, the hashtag trends so quickly. It's been identified as one of the most powerful things that we actually have now when it comes to social media. But what a lot of editors and, newspaper owners were actually discussing here was how do they then make a capital so that they can have, a proper income for journalists using social media, because they haven't actually tapped into a scenario where they can now actually, make an income or capitalize on what we now have as social media news. So that's one of the topics that has been tackled, that they are, looking to discuss further and look into further in terms of, yes, people don't have time now. You drive to work, you don't have time to stop for a newspaper. I mean, by the time you get to the office, you've already, in the morning, you've gone onto your cell phone, you've looked at what's trending, you've looked at newspaper headlines, you've looked at shorter clips in terms of, what's trending in South Africa, in Congo, in London. But now, how do we then, make money for the newspaper houses out of social media? So that's exactly what, the Highway Africa conference is all about, in terms of the new challenges that we have as the media industry and how we tackle those.
Yeah, it's actually an incredible world we're living in right now, how things have changed in a mere 10 years, if not less than that. I mean, it's just become immediacy at its peak, even as a television platform. I mean, we talk about the print media, but we can talk about television as well. I remember the days of gathering around waiting for the 7 o'clock news to come so you could catch up on the news events. But these days, it's so fast, it's so immediate. I can imagine that a lot of this is going to be discussed further, and how you cash in on, as you say, the hashtag. Just talk to us a little bit more about what we can expect for the conference going further, or from the conference, I should say, going further.
Okay, well, Leanne, I think I should just allude to the fact that last night was the closing function. The conference now is held over 2 days. So, what has actually come out of the conference is, like we mentioned, the importance of the hashtag, how people are actually going to move further and how journalists and newsrooms need to educate themselves about social media and using it in a context where we are very responsible, because we find that we find that a lot of times, it's difficult to then, not to control what people are actually commenting. Like the SABC, we might put something online, but how people actually comment and how we then preserve the rights of people while using our social media networks is very important going forward. So those are some of the important things that have come out, how we capitalize on social media, how we use it, how we are responsible, and how we also preserve the rights of others.
Wonderful. Iviwe, thank you very, very much for talking to us here on the program and giving us feedback from this conference that in fact ended yesterday. So that was the outcome of the entire Highway Africa. It's